Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. So normally I bring you guys my own playing and tournament games and whatnot, but this is a bit of a departure from the norm. These are two players that are pretty active in my Discord server, and they've been having some disagreements lately. So lo and behold, we have the first ever little grudge match on my channel. Now, admittedly, I'm not familiar with ABH or Jay very much as players, but I know they're both nice fellas, and I know that they both have strong and justified opinions on a lot of subjects. So it's going to be interesting to see them clash, not only ideologically, but also in the game. Looking at the teams right off the bat, we see some really interesting choices. I feel like Jay's team, and Jay is Javelin 456, is perhaps a bit deficient defensively in a sense he doesn't have checks and counters to a lot of things you see commonly, but he makes up for that in a lot of offensive presence, which is going to be interesting. You don't see grassy terrain with two round types very often, nor do you see Zapdos Galar outside of Hyper Offense, but lo and behold, both of them are using Zapdos Galar, and we see grassy terrain with both Excadrill and Garchomp here for Jay, so that's an interesting clue right off the bat. As for ABH, he has a bit more of a balance team. It actually looks alright, although Reuniclus without much support here to lure in potential checks and counters. Just want to make sure, they know it can go. Is interesting in this game. I don't think it's going to do too much. I feel like too many things are able to KO it, and maybe it'll be hard to switch into if it's a Focus Blast variant. But that's really all I could say. I don't think a Calm Mindset's going to be sweeping unless it's A, going to get pretty lucky, and B, J is going to misplay. Looking a bit more into ABH's team, he does have a nice defensive core with Slowbro plus Ferrothorn plus Heatran, so that'll be interesting. Anyway, we're into the leads now. It's going to be a lead Landorus against a lead Excadrill, and it looks like Jay might be a Sash lead, and it may be Hyper Offense after all, because he stayed in on the Scarf Landorus T's U-turn. It took 17% and no leftovers there right off the bat, so that's a good start for Jay, as now he's able to save the Excadrill and bring the Hydreigon in on a Skull that's not going to burn, and it's not a leftovers Hydreigon. It's likely resembling a Nasty Plot 3 attacks variant, which is going to threaten the entirety of ABH's team, likely only being outsped by the Scarf Landorus, which can't kill it from this range, and the Zapdos Galar, and a Dark Pulse is going to take out the Slowbro in one. I am completely surprised that he stayed in there, considering that he's facing a Cinderace, Garchomp, and Excadrill, and even a Zapdos Galar. You really needed that Slowbro in that matchup. I feel like virtually any other Pokemon coming in would have made more sense. And he's saying, oh, that's Specs, but it took Life Orb damage. So a little bit of an oversight there by ABH, I'd say. I think if he was scared of the Fire move or anything that wasn't Dark Pulse, he could have just pivoted to Heatran, and then maybe either got Ferrothorn after that, or even eventually got Zapdos Galarian on an obvious non-Draco turn if you had a Steel type in. And that type of pivoting is really how you got to play around Hyper Offense right now, especially with his team kind of forfeiting two defensive slots for Reuniclus, which is more of win condition, and Zapdos Galar, which doesn't really make a ton of sense here in my opinion. But I digress. I feel like these kind of holes make it so that, you lack a Fairy type and all of a sudden you're falling behind. But yeah, regardless, he does have another durable Psychic type in Reuniclus, so he's able to come in and hopefully try and make some advantage of its positioning against Zapdos Galar, which is going to do a whopping 56% with U-turn. Excadrill comes back in there. I mean, if this isn't a recover, Psyshock, yeah, that all of a sudden, you got to feel like ABH is falling well behind Jay here. Jay hasn't really had to do anything like over the top either. He's basically attacked what's in front of him for the entirety of the game. Yeah, and I mean, Earthquake there, but it's fine. He's really all he has to do when ABH has kind of played himself into a hole with the Slowbro sequence and arguably his lack of forethought in the team building department. But there are still some positives here. Landorus sees a massive threat to Jay's team due to it being more hyper offense. You turn into anything here not named the Excadrill is going to be annoying because either it'll do a million to the Rillaboom, or it'll bait him into a less undesirable or more favorable situation. But Defog there made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Stealth Rock, we're not pressuring his team. He has nothing weak to Stealth Rock, even as a Pokemon that's immune and another resistant to it. And Zapdos Galar coming in on a U-turn made perfect sense. So now he basically just granted Jay a free kill. And in return for that, Excadrill can just come in and outrun everything aside from Zapdos Galar and the Landorus team, meaning the either Steel type or Reuniclus, and just get rocks back up. So yeah, that was a completely wasted defog there, and Ferrothorn's now gone, and there's no real consequence there. So you see Jay capitalizing on what seems to be some not too well thought out play here by ABH. All in all, I definitely like how Jay's approached this game. He's kind of just taken whatever was given to him. And now he's going to take advantage of this too, because even if this Landorus is Stone Edge, it's not going to kill here. So you got to get an explosion off, and +3, as you see, +3 close combat from a Choice Banded Zapdos Galar is easily going to take this out. And honestly, it's going to probably win the game here if it wins the speed tie against the opposing Zapdos Galar. I really don't understand why a lot of this was played as it was, in all honesty, but hey, that's going to be the first game. I think they're doing a best out of 3. I'm just going to make sure in the chat to see if they are doing best out of 3. Alright, so yeah, they're going to game 2. So that's a 6-0 there from the Zapdos Galar. Right off the bat, I'd have to say with my game 1 impressions, I don't think Jay had to do anything really crazy good there, but I do feel as if he just capitalized on the opponent and his maybe lack of forethought, if you will. And that's not even a shot at ABH, but rather I feel as if he had to know the consequences of his actions before committing to them in the game. And this is something that plagues a lot of newer or maybe less experienced players. So think about it like this. Let's say I have that Landorus out against the drill there. I could Earthquake, and that means I hit the drill. It's fine, but maybe I don't hit the Zapdos Galar. And that's rough, but at least I don't give it +2 attack. I could U-turn, and maybe I don't hit the drill, but at that point, it's a drill, and I have a full health Ferrothorn, so it's just not the end of the world. I also have my Zapdos Galar, I can pivot back in after that, and so on and so forth. So definitely not the end of the world there. But if I defog, A, his drill can still come in and outrun over half of my team and get rocks up, so that's not accomplishing much when I don't have anything weak to rocks. And B, if he goes Zapdos Galar, the potential negatives of that play are so huge that it's just not worth incurring that risk. So I'm just going to see if game 2 is 456. Nope, it doesn't look like it started. User ABH ISDN 417. There we go. Yep, looks like game 2 has started. So yeah, we have the same team from Jay. That's not very fun. I mean, I guess it's a good team in his opinion, although I'm not huge on that. But regardless, it looks like a bulkier team from ABH, perhaps one a bit more prepared for what the opponent has. No, you can bring whatever you want. You can bring whatever you want. Anyway, so it looks like ABH is using Obstagoon and Hatterene, 2 pretty interesting Pokemon. I quite like them in the metagame right now, but I don't know if there's going to be enough room for either of them here. I feel like Gunk Shot on Cinderace is going to suffocate the Hatterene, whereas Obstagoon outrun by multiple Pokemon, coupled with the fact that there's Grassy Glide, and it doesn't really one-shot everything that it'd like to. Garchomp can't one-shot. You can't one-shot Drill. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Zapdos Galar looks pretty good here for ABH, for Jay as well, because for some reason, ABH is running this bulky of a team without a Regenerator Pokemon. So I think that not being able to capitalize on the stab resistances, like for example, now you have to predict around it. So if you go to close combat, you go Corviknight, you risk being to a Kyode, or you go Hatterene on Brave Bird, you get into a Kyode. But if you get the turn right, then yeah, you can negate it, but it's interesting to see. Regardless, looking a bit deeper into Jay's team, Cinderace does really well here if it's not a Rocky Helmet Garchomp. Although I think it should be Rocky Helmet, because you have enough offensive presence between Hatterene, Status, Dragapult, and Obstagoon. And he's super weak to Cinderace otherwise. Nasty Powder Dragon probably won't do as much work in this game as it could have and kind of did last game, breaking it open against the Slowbro. We're going to see a lead drill one more time. It's going to be Corviknight for ABH here, okay? So that's a good start for ABH in a sense. You could just get a body press off and then, defog turn 1. I don't really understand that. You always break the sash turn 1. That just makes no sense. Like, what if he switches? All of a sudden, what do you do? Yeah, no, this is completely suboptimal. You always break the sash immediately, and then you can just defog in the following turn. It's not like you really risk much. If he gets his Zapdos Galar at +2, you got to predict around it regardless. Like, a +2 close combat, he's not doing much to Hatterene or to Dragapult regardless, and Brave Bird's going to do the trick regardless, so yeah. I don't know. Like, right now, the thing is, let's say he goes Zapdos Galar. Yeah, look, on this defog, and now you give it +2 attack, and you haven't done any damage at all. And that's why defog right off the bat is just a huge misplay, because you never gain anything out of it. You never ever gain anything, especially because you got to keep in mind Mold Breaker, pressure. He still could have kind of kept some PP and then eventually baited this in once he knew he was going for defog. So yeah, this is just a really weird play. And then another weird play. So Jay likely scared of a physically defensive Corviknight. Yeah, okay, that's why he didn't go for it. So you get the chip with U-turn there. And now he's going to scout if it's Brave Bird or Body Press or what it is. If it's Body Press and he didn't click it against the drill, then that's even more baffling in my opinion. Yeah, he goes back to the drill. So hopefully we'll see the sash broken here. So lo and behold, he is able to break the sash at least. That's something. Long awaited breaking of the sash, and he's gonna start getting leftovers once more here. It looks as if Jay kind of cornered himself by going back to drill. Yeah, he does get his rocks up ultimately in return for the sash being broken. So I guess it's kind of how it should have ended up, but in my opinion, it took a mistake from one end followed by a mistake from the other end to really even it out. All in all, I feel like when you lead with drill, you kind of have to game plan for every single matchup from the lead. Otherwise, it's just not worth playing those type of teams, in my opinion. But I mean, the thing is, because like it's a very linear Pokemon. Like you lead with it, your goal is to get off rocks and as much damage as possible while maintaining rocks. So in a Corviknight matchup, it might be best to say go to something like Cinderace or Hydreigon if it's a fire move, or Garchomp is a fire move, depending on which it is, and make sure you can take advantage of it. However, Jay didn't really do that at all. Jay just brought his drill back in on Corviknight, but then ABH, instead of giving a free sash, he gave the Zapdos Galar +2 attack for no reason, but thankfully he had, or at least bluffed a physically defensive Corviknight, so he's able to get by that, but now Obstagoon is able to get the Revenge Kill and Drill in exchange for Rock, so that's basically how you would have drawn it up anyway. However, now the Zapdos Galar is back in here, and in my opinion here, if you're Jay, you click Brave Bird. Adamant Scarf is sus, not gonna lie. I'm not sure what he means by Adamant Scarf. But that's gonna be a critical at Brave Bird there. And it was Helmet, so yeah, it's a ton of recoil. All in all, Garchomp didn't make any sense there. Again, in my opinion, you really needed that Garchomp for the Cinderace. And you kind of have to predict around, go Corvin the Brave Bird or go Hatterene in close combat. And if you look at this matchup, outruns Hatterene and kills it. Can 2 kill Hatterene, can kill it with Gunk Shot, can 2 kill it with a +2 attack, but yeah, okay. But you have Blissey for it anyway, and you can revenge with Dragapult. So you don't really need Hatterene, so I think you always go Hatterene there in the Brave Bird, you tank one, and then you switch to Corviknight afterwards, but I guess he elected to give up to Garchomp instead, but now that leaves him with only a Dragapult to check Cinderace, and if it's Sucker Punch, then forget about it. Now, he goes back to Zapdos Galar into Defog, which is a great play, and now we're in another one of these plays, and I think this time you just click to straightforward close combat, and you have to go Dragapult here if you're ABH, but he lets go of the Corviknight, so yeah, that's a ton of mileage out of very little health on the Zapdos Galar there. ABH really, I don't agree with his prioritization at all, but if you look at this Dragapult against the remainder of Jay's team is super weak to Dragapult, and this is why hyper-offensive teams kind of need another out against it, in my opinion. Or maybe to keep the drill alive in the back just to stomach a hit, especially if it's a Thunder Wave Dragapult. But I digress. The good thing is that it doesn't have the ability to one-shot something like the Rillaboom, so you can, eat a Wisp and then get like a 75-80% knockoff off. Or, maybe beat it with some Grassy Glides if it takes any chip. And Sucker Punch Cinderace, the thing about that is if you take the burn, then it gets really hard to deal with. But otherwise, it can go pretty well. No Glow Stick. We see the Hydreigon here on the Hex, and I'd imagine that you just let go of the Hydreigon here. It's a Life Orb Hydreigon, so you gotta be confident that you're quicker with your Dragapult, and he U-turns. Now that U-turn makes no sense at all. A Dragon move hit everything neutrally, and it killed Hydreigon, but thankfully there is a Blissey in the back to stomach the Draco Meteor, so in a sense it worked out. I guess ABH's rationale there simply is that he didn't want to be at -2 if he was Draco, or potentially risk missing, but when he's already down a Pokemon and he's lost his main Cinderace check, he kind of has to risk that, especially because if he gets to kill with Blissey out, that invites Cinderace simply. If he gets to kill with Dragapult out, that doesn't. So, we see a Thunder Wave here, and actually going to Rillaboom here is a great play for Jay, because he really it doesn't matter what this is. And thankfully for ABH, he gets the Fall Paralysis there, which means he could probably bring in something like the Dragapult, or even the Obstagoon to threaten a large amount of damage with Facade from Obstagoon, although he's got to stomach a Grassy Glide before that, or a Hex from Dragapult, but neither can get a one-shot, so in a sense he's going to have to probably trade with it, yeah. So it goes Obstagoon here. That's going to be at 82% after Grassy Glide, after Grassy Train and Facade kind of trade for each other, but regardless of that, I wonder, yeah, Facade, and he doesn't go for Grassy Glide. Why wouldn't you go for Grassy Glide? Wow. That seems like a huge oversight there from Jay. All of a sudden putting him into a 4-4 position. Yes, this does mean that the Roadrunner, Zapdos Galar, can come in and threaten to get a kill with Brave Bird here, but I mean, I don't really know if that's enough when you could have gotten the Grassy Glide off, and he didn't really have his check to it alive with the Corviknight gone, so I feel like he didn't capitalize too well. U-turn there. I feel like Brave Bird was a little better, but if it's a gunk shot Cinderace, then that's just as fine because now he doesn't waste a Brave Bird recoil. So he gets into Cinderace on the 82% Hatterene, which is undoubtedly going to be in gunk shot range at this point. And he's going to miss the gunk shot, which turns him into a poison type. Wait, he goes for the side shock, and that's not. Oh my god, the Cinderace stomach, the side shock. Wow, that is humongous. And now I imagine a follow-up gunk shot's coming. Is ABH going to make the right play and go back to Dragapult here? That he does. On the gunk shot, it's probably going to do about 40. No poison. Okay. Is this going to be Sucker Punch? And is ABH going to let it happen? No, he goes Blissey on the Sucker Punch. Okay, but now, is it going to go back to the Dragapult on a high jump kick? And is it going to be a high jump kick variant, or is it going to be U-turn Power Ball? He's going to go U-turn, and Blissey's going to stay in. Wow. A couple of really great plays there from ABH trying to capitalize on his otherwise back foot position. Seismic Toss there. Didn't love that. I would have just teleported to regain momentum, get that Dragapult in, because now you're kind of obligated to fodder off the Blissey, and it is to a scale shot as well, so he's going to even get a +1 speed, and now you really need that Hatterene, so thank God for that gunk shot miss. He goes Obstagoon instead of Hatterene? What? No way. Now that's going to be put in, I guess that's fine, but I mean, the thing is that Obstagoon's health doesn't really matter, as it's dying to everything else. So, yeah, he should stomach a Life Orb here. So I guess that's fine. My main thought was you minimize the damage taken with Drain Kiss from the Hatterene. But yeah, if you're okay with that Facade and then going for basically what is a trade here as he dies to Rough Skin plus Burn, then that is a fine line to play. But now that leaves you in a 2-3 position. Yeah, so ABH is going to have to really pull through with that Dragapult against the Sucker Punch Cinderace. He's going to have to go for what I'm assuming would be a Whisper T-Wave. Wait, why did he attack? What? Okay, well, he didn't even give himself a chance. I guess if this gunk shot misses here, then there's a chance. Yeah, there's no way this is a Specs Pult on this team. He absolutely needed boots, so yeah, and he says, why did I try to predict? Yeah, exactly. See, he just made a silly, unnecessary overprediction in a position where he couldn't afford to, and then this time around, gunk shot's going to connect. And that insult to injury is going to get a critical hit, which I don't believe mattered. So yeah, Jay is going to win the series 2-0. Overall, it was a really hectic set. A lot of interesting things happening. I wanted to bring this because I had a lot of loyal subscribers and viewers in my Discord server, and I thought it would be cool to showcase a couple of them playing, and they kind of organized this match, so why not? All in all, a lot of fun teams that we got to see here. All three of the teams that were showcased, 2 by ABH and the team from Jay here, were pretty cool. And some interesting plays. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below what you think. Definitely some mistakes made, but that happens to the best of us, especially when a lot of people are watching. So no shame in that whatsoever. Definitely a lot of positive takeaways. And if you guys like this sort of content where I bring, you guys playing, let me know, and I'll try and arrange for other things in the future. Or if you guys have any other ideas, be sure to let me know there as well. Anyway, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys enjoyed. In addition, check out the Discord server, guys. It's poppin'. The link will be down below in the description. And if you guys also want to stay up to date with what's happening on that channel, feel free to shoot me a follow on Twitter, and I'll be sure to deliver with, my insight and whatnot, if you will. But yeah, I hope you all have a great day. Just chilling here for sure. I'll definitely be back with some more uploads throughout the week. But until then, peace out. Later.